So we are going to make a lava lamp, and we're going to make it out of NURBS this time. We're going to use the NURBS tools. So I'm here in my perspective view. I actually want to be in the front view for this. So I'm just going to switch over to that. And I need to put my reference in my image plane. So I'm going to come up here to View, Image Plane, Import Image. And on my desktop, I have a folder, and we'll use this lava lamp for our reference. And I'll zoom in just so we can get a little closer. So I'm going to start out using the CV Curve tool. So, and that's under here, under Create, Curve Tools. You've got all your different curve tools here. I'm going to use the CV. And I'll zoom in closer to the top so you can kind of see what we're doing here. Now I'm going to start out, because I want these ends of these lines to be snapped right to the center line. That's going to make our revolve work correctly. So I'm going to hold down X, which is the Snap to Grid command, and I'm just going to click right here on this grid line first. Now I'm going to come back and change this so it's even with the top, but I'm just going to do that right now so I can make sure it's right on that center line. And then I'm going to start to make this corner right here on my lamp. Now when you're using the CV Curve tool, you always have to use 3 points to turn a curve at least. So because you want to have one that kind of goes on the surface as you're going right up to the curve. You want to have one right at the edge of the curve, and then another one on the next half of the surface. And I'll zoom in a little bit closer so you can see that. See how we start to get a little bit of a curve right there. It's hard to see because we haven't done the rest of the line, but you can see where the points are. So that's going to be a nice curve for us at the top for our corner. So now I'm going to come down, and this whole straight section doesn't really need any points at all. So I'm just going to come down to where it starts to curve again. So I'll start right here, and I'll click my next point. And then I'll just trace this around. We probably don't need more than about 4 or 5 points for that. That's probably good. And then I'll come down to this little hard corner here, and I'll put another little 3 points, little turn right there. That does that for us. And then down here at the bottom, we kind of have to eyeball where the flat bottom of this lava lamp is, because we're seeing it sort of from a different perspective. We've got the curve. So that's just, you just have to use your own judgment on that. So I need my 3 points maybe over here, like that. And then I'm going to do the Snap to Grid holding down X again right there. So now I'm going to hit Enter, and that creates my curve. So there's a few things that I want to adjust because it's not exactly how I want. There's a couple things to change. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Control Vertex on my curve. And I think these, I will just move down a little so that's a little flatter. And then maybe I'll move them out a little bit too. That's probably good. And I might even just take all this and move it down and then move this out. Just so we get a little wider base right there. I think I might actually scale these up a little too so it's not quite, no, I don't think so. I think that's fine. And then I'll come up here to the top. And I'll take this point and move it back down so it's flat on the top. And now we get that nice little corner there at the top. So we got the line drawn. So now I'm going to come back up to my perspective view. It's being a little bit tricky right now. You know how mine it is. Oops. There we go. Right, so I don't even actually need this reference anymore, so I'm just going to get rid of that. And here is my curve. This is a profile curve is what this is called. When you do something like a revolve or a loft or something, this is the profile curve. So I'm going to come up here. I want to make sure that this pivot point is right on the center line, and it is, so that's good. Now I'm going to come up to Surfaces, Revolve, and that is going to just take that curve and run it around and make our surface. Now what you can see though is that it's actually inside out, because we see the black part, that's the back of the normal. So I'm going to come back up here to surfaces and go down to reverse direction. And now we have our surface. If I click away, you can see it looks like a decent enough lava lamp, right? I am going to go ahead and turn off this grid just so we can see a little bit better. So now there might be a couple other things that you want to do, because actually this surface is connected to this curve still with history. So if you can get a hold of that curve, if you want, you can come in and still change stuff. See, if I pull this, it changes the shape of the whole thing. So that's something to keep in mind too, is that once you do a loft like this, or some of the other NURBS functions, that those surfaces are still connected to the curves until you delete the history. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now though, because I feel like this shape is fine. So I'm going to select it, go up to Edit, Delete by Type, History, and now when we get that curve, you can see that, oops, hold on, let me get the right thing going here. Now those points aren't connected anymore, they just pull right away. So I could even get rid of this line if I wanted to. I mean, there's something to be said for always saving your curves on a layer just in case you need to come back to them again, especially if you're doing something big and complicated. I'm just going to get rid of this now, so that's fine. Now we have a NURBS lava lamp. Sometimes though, NURBS are kind of hard to work with, and so it might be useful for you to convert your NURBS objects to polygon objects. A lot of times they're just easier to add detail to, they're easier to texture. There's a lot of stuff that you don't have to worry about with polygons that you have to deal with NURBS. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to come up here to modify, and I'm going to go to convert NURBS to polygons, and it converts polygons just like that. So usually you've still got your NURBS object in there, which I do. And then sometimes if you come up here and you go into the convert options, there's different ways that you can have it converted. I have it just set to be on the control points, and all that does is it takes every control vertex, it makes it into a vertex, and every isoparm that's on my curve surface turns into an edge. It just translates it directly. So, and then if I take this and I hit 3, if it doesn't freeze, it seems to be, there we go. If I hit 3, it looks exactly the same, except that this one's NURBS and this one is polygons, and this one might be easier to work with. So that's another way that you can use NURBS to create a lava lamp. So go ahead and you can turn in just the NURBS lamp, or if you want to go ahead and convert it to polygons, you can. It doesn't matter, but just go ahead and turn in your Maya file to the canvas. Thanks very much.